Gentlemen, welcome back to the Stoic Master, where we turn confusion into clarity and help you decode the silent language of women. Today, we're diving into a powerful topic: 11 gestures or signs that a woman secretly likes you. These signs are subtle, but once you know them, you'll see the truth behind her smile, her glance, her silence. Let's begin. When a woman secretly likes you, she often finds subtle and seemingly innocent ways to be around you. This might come across as coincidence at first, like bumping into you in places she normally wouldn't be, or joining in on conversations that you're a part of. But over time, you'll begin to notice a pattern. It's not that she's following you around or being obvious, but there's an energy of intentional presence. She might not say it out loud, but her actions show a clear desire to be in your orbit. For example, if you're at work and she just so happens to take her break at the same time as you, or she sits near you during meetings even when there are plenty of other seats available, it's a silent gesture. If you're in a group setting and she constantly gravitates toward your side, or starts conversations that don't really have a strong purpose other than keeping the interaction going, it's a clue. She may pretend to ask you a question she already knows the answer to, or she'll laugh at your jokes in a way that seems a little more engaged than the others around you. It's not just about being physically present. It's about creating openings, small windows where you have the chance to connect with her. She wants to be visible to you, but she also doesn't want to come across as desperate, so she does it through shared space, through availability, through subtle proximity. This is where most men miss the sign, because it's not dramatic or loud. It's quiet, strategic, calculated even. A woman who secretly likes you will never put herself in a position to look rejected. So instead, she lets you notice her, and she hopes you're sharp enough to read between the lines. She doesn't need to speak it. Her presence speaks for her. One of the most telling signs that a woman secretly likes you is her body language, especially when it mirrors yours. This is something that often happens subconsciously. She isn't even aware she's doing it. But the reason it's so powerful is because mirroring is a natural psychological response to connection and comfort. When someone feels drawn to you, they begin to sync up with your rhythm, your posture, even your expressions. If you lean against a wall, she might do the same. If you cross your legs or arms and moments later she follows suit, that's not random. That's her subconsciously signaling that she's aligned with you emotionally and energetically. Now, mirroring isn't always obvious at first glance. It can be subtle and delayed, happening a few seconds after you make your movement. For example, if you're sitting at a table and you lean forward slightly to speak, she might lean in as well, showing engagement and interest. If you shift your body toward her, she might mirror that shift too. Even things like sipping your drink or adjusting your jacket. If she echoes those gestures without realizing it, it's a powerful, unspoken indicator of her attraction. This kind of non-verbal mimicry doesn't happen with just anyone. It's a response reserved for people we're emotionally tuned into. It reveals where her attention is focused. If she's doing it repeatedly, it means her mind is syncing with yours. She's trying to build unspoken rapport. She's comfortable, engaged, and trying to establish connection without overtly showing it. Most women are very cautious with direct signals because of fear of rejection or misinterpretation, so they rely on their body language to do the talking. A woman may not admit she likes you with words, but if you study her movement in relation to yours, her actions might already be telling you everything. Another sign that cuts deeper than words is physical touch, but not the obvious kind. A woman who secretly likes you will find subtle, socially acceptable reasons to initiate light contact. It might be as small as brushing something off your shoulder, giving you a playful nudge, or letting her fingers briefly touch yours when handing you something. These moments might seem casual or accidental, but often they are intentional, and they are meaningful. Touch is a form of vulnerability. It's a way to cross the invisible line of personal space that most people protect carefully. When a woman is comfortable enough to cross that boundary with you, even in small ways, she's showing trust and interest. Think about it. Women don't typically go out of their way to touch men they're not attracted to. If anything, they avoid unnecessary contact, so if she's initiating it, she's signaling something deeper. The key is to observe the pattern. Is she finding reasons to be close? Does she initiate these small moments of contact frequently, even when they aren't necessary? Is there a certain softness or playfulness to the way she does it? If yes, then understand that she's testing the waters. She wants to see how you'll respond. She wants to feel that spark without fully exposing her feelings. She may touch your arm when making a joke. She may pretend to need help with something simple just to draw your hands near hers. These gestures are a form of emotional bait, carefully placed to open the door without demanding anything in return. They say, "I'm comfortable with you. I feel something with you, but I'm not going to say it out loud yet." And that's where you have to be sharp enough to pick up on the invitation hidden in the contact. When a woman secretly likes you, her eyes often betray what her words won't dare say. The eyes are powerful because they're not easily controlled. Unlike a smile or a laugh, which can be faked, the way someone looks at you, especially when they think you're not looking, reveals raw truth. If you catch her looking at you when she thinks you're distracted, and then she quickly looks away or pretends to focus on something else, that's not shyness, it's interest. A woman who isn't into you won't waste her attention on you, especially in a quiet, focused way. But one who is intrigued, she'll steal glances. She'll scan your face when you speak. She'll hold your gaze a second longer than necessary, then look down and smile to herself like she's trying to hide the very thing she's feeling. You may notice that when the two of you lock eyes, there's a quiet tension, not uncomfortable but charged. A woman might use eye contact to test your awareness. She wants to see if you're paying attention, if you notice her noticing you. Sometimes she'll hold your gaze in a way that almost dares you to figure her out. Other times, she might get flustered and look away quickly, almost as if she's caught doing something wrong. But that's just her guard slipping, revealing that her interest in you is genuine and unplanned. Her pupils might dilate when she's talking to you, especially in low light or during emotionally stimulating conversation. She might blink less, or her eyes might soften and stay on you longer when you're sharing something personal. These are all involuntary reactions to emotional arousal. In simpler terms, she's into you, and her eyes are whispering the truth her mouth won't speak. Another clear but quiet sign is when a woman starts showing genuine interest in your personal life. Not just surface-level questions like "How was your weekend?", but deeper inquiries that show she's invested in getting to know you beyond the mask most people wear. She'll ask about your dreams, your family, your past relationships, but she'll do it subtly, spaced out over time, so it doesn't seem intrusive. This isn't small talk. This is her slowly gathering a picture of who you really are because she cares. Because you're not just another guy in the room. You're someone who's beginning to matter to her. When a woman likes you, she becomes curious about what makes you tick. She remembers things you say in passing, brings them up later, and even checks in on things you might have forgotten you mentioned. Maybe you told her weeks ago that you had a presentation coming up, and she casually asks how it went. Or maybe you once mentioned you don't drink coffee, and the next time you're together, she doesn't offer you one. That level of attention isn't random, it's focused, it's intentional, and it's one of the clearest ways you can tell she's not just being polite, she's emotionally invested. This level of interest also shows in the way she listens. She doesn't just wait for her turn to speak, she listens actively. She reacts to the meaning behind your words. She asks follow-up questions that show she wants to explore the layers of your personality. She wants to understand your world, you, your opinions, your emotional triggers. She wants to know the things that make you unique, because in her mind, there's a possibility she might become a part of that world. And finally, one of the most underestimated but telling signs that a woman secretly likes you is how she reacts to the mention of other women. You might not even realize you're triggering it. Maybe you casually mention a female friend, a co-worker, or even an ex, and suddenly her tone shifts. Her body language closes slightly. She might try to act indifferent, but if you're paying close attention, you'll catch a flicker of something else. Maybe it's tension in her jaw. Maybe her smile fades just a little. Maybe she quickly changes the subject or tries to downplay what you just said. That's not disinterest. That's subtle jealousy, the kind that slips out before she can stop it. She won't confront you about it because she has no official claim to you. But the emotional response is real. A woman who doesn't care won't flinch when you talk about other women, but a woman who's secretly into you will feel a pang, even if she hides it well. Her mind starts comparing, wondering where she stands, questioning if she's even on your radar. That internal conflict shows up in the micro expressions you'll miss if you're not observant: a slightly colder tone, a sudden distraction, or a forced smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes. These subtle shifts are emotional leaks, moments when the truth slips past the surface. She may not say a word, but deep down, she's wondering if someone else is already taking the place she wishes she could have. When a woman secretly likes you, she often doesn't come out and say it directly. Instead, her attention shows up in ways that are easy to miss unless you're tuned in. One of the biggest signs is how much she remembers. A woman who likes you will remember the smallest things you say, even the things you don't expect her to. She'll recall your favorite food, your childhood memories, the story you told weeks ago about your first job, or how you take your coffee. Most men don't realize how significant this is, because we tend to associate interest with big, obvious gestures. But women express care through detailed memory. They catalog the parts of you that matter, your habits, your goals, your preferences. Because to her, you're not just another guy. You're someone she wants to understand and connect with. She might bring up something you said offhandedly and surprise you by how much of it she remembers. Maybe you mentioned your mother's birthday was coming up, and a week later she asks how it went. Maybe you talked about wanting to take a trip to the mountains someday, and she mentions a hiking trail you'd love. That's not just small talk, that's intentional focus. It means that when you talk, she's not just hearing you, she's listening. Really listening. That kind of attention doesn't come from casual interest. It comes from emotional investment. She may even adjust herself to your interests. If you mention that you love a certain band or sport, she might start casually bringing it up too, or show interest in watching a game with you. It's not because she's pretending, it's because she wants a reason to share your world. This doesn't mean she's trying to copy you or lose herself in your identity. Instead, she's creating common ground, silent invitations for connection, and she hopes you notice, even if she never says it out loud. Another major clue is in how she behaves when you're speaking. She doesn't just wait for her turn to talk. She becomes emotionally involved in your words. You can see it in her expressions, how her eyebrows move when you're saying something serious, how her smile grows when you talk about something you love. Her body leans slightly toward you. Her head tilts when she's really processing what you say. Her eyes don't wander to her phone or the people around her. You have her full attention. In a world where people are constantly distracted, that kind of focused presence is rare and telling. This level of attention doesn't come from someone who's just being polite. It comes from someone who wants to be close to you, someone who wants to learn how you think and feel. Women don't waste that kind of emotional energy on people they're indifferent to. So if you find that she's not only listening but engaging with your words, asking questions, remembering details, and responding in a way that makes you feel heard, it's likely because you matter to her more than she's willing to admit. Then there's the way she reacts when you're with other women, or even just talking about other women. This one is powerful because it shows her feelings through contrast. A woman who secretly likes you will not remain emotionally neutral when she senses another woman might be a threat, even if there's no logical reason for jealousy. It's not about control or insecurity. It's about emotional attachment that hasn't yet been voiced. She might not say anything outright, but her energy will shift. She might go a little quieter, or she might start asking questions in a slightly sharper tone. Maybe she'll playfully tease you about it, or maybe she'll pretend it doesn't bother her. But her body language tells another story. If you watch closely, you'll notice she becomes more alert, more self-aware, more guarded. These reactions are instinctual. She's not trying to manipulate you. She's trying to protect herself. Because if she secretly likes you, then hearing you talk about another woman, even casually, feels like an emotional threat. And since she hasn't expressed her feelings openly, she doesn't know where she stands with you, which only heightens the reaction. You may even notice her become competitive in subtle ways. She might casually highlight something about herself, her accomplishments, her sense of humor, her style, as if to remind you that she's a catch too. Or she might try to redirect your attention back to her through conversation or playful teasing. It's not desperation, it's vulnerability cloaked in composure. She's trying to stay calm on the outside while managing her emotions on the inside. A woman who has no feelings for you won't care who you're seeing, what you're doing, or who else you talk about. But a woman who secretly wants to be the one you choose, she'll care deeply, even if she never says a word about it. Her emotional reactions are the hidden language you must learn to interpret. They speak volumes, especially when her words don't. A woman's silence in the face of jealousy is often louder than any confession she could ever make. And it's in those moments, those quiet, unsaid shifts, that her true feelings begin to rise to the surface. A woman who secretly likes you will often go out of her way to make herself look good when she knows she's going to see you. This isn't just about vanity, it's about presentation. Women understand the power of visual impression. When she's into you, she becomes hyper, aware of how you might perceive her. She might not dress to the nines every time you're around, but there will be noticeable effort. Her hair might be done more neatly, her makeup might be a little more refined, or her outfit will seem more thoughtfully chosen. Even if she usually dresses casually, around you there's a subtle elevation in how she presents herself. It's not always dramatic, but it's intentional. She wants you to notice her, to see her in the best light possible, without ever needing to say that out loud. She may wear a scent you've once complimented, or choose clothes that emphasize her favorite features. Sometimes this is done so subtly that you'd only recognize the pattern in hindsight. Maybe she always wears a certain color when she's around you, or maybe her style shifts slightly to match yours or appeal to what she imagines you might be attracted to. These changes aren't random. They're small, strategic decisions that reflect a desire to be seen as desirable. By asterisk you asterisk. This kind of attention to detail is a deeply psychological act of attraction. It's her way of increasing the odds that you'll see her not just as a friend or acquaintance, but as someone who stands out. This doesn't just happen once. It happens consistently. She might act like it's all effortless, like she just happened to look that good today. But if you're observant, you'll notice that her effort often increases in direct proportion to the amount of time she expects to spend around you. Whether it's a group hangout or a casual meeting, she doesn't want to fade into the background. She wants to linger in your mind after the interaction ends. She wants you to go home thinking about her, not because of what she said, but because of how she made you feel when you looked at her. Another telling sign is her use of humor and playfulness around you. A woman who secretly likes you will often use laughter as a bonding tool. She'll laugh at your jokes, even the ones that aren't that funny, not because she's trying to flatter you, but because she's trying to build connection. Humor is a low, risk-high, reward way to close the emotional distance between two people. It allows for flirtation without direct confession. It softens tension. It creates shared moments. And if a woman is finding ways to create these light, playful moments with you repeatedly, that's not just friendliness. It's attraction trying to make itself known in a safe way. You'll see this in the way she teases you, especially if it's done with a smile or a glint in her eye. She might make fun of your habits or joke about things you've said, but there's no malice behind it. In fact, the teasing often serves to draw you closer. It's a tactic that allows her to show attention without being too vulnerable. She might call you out in a group setting, but then glance at you to make sure you're laughing with her. Or she'll find playful ways to challenge you, to test your wit and keep your interaction interesting. This kind of dynamic creates tension, the good kind, the kind that leaves both of you thinking about the exchange long after it's over. And just as importantly, she'll try to make you laugh. She'll bring out her playful side, use self-deprecating humor, or tell stories with animated expressions because she wants to see you smile. That effort alone reveals a lot. Women don't invest emotional energy into entertaining men they're not interested in. So, if she's putting herself out there, being silly, being bold, or just being fun around you, it means she feels safe. It means she's trying to stand out. She wants to create memories that associate her with joy in your mind. Because if you feel good around her, you're more likely to crave that feeling again, and that's exactly what she's hoping for. Then there's the digital behavior, the way she interacts with you over messages or social media. In the digital age, attraction often shows up in the form of little pings of attention. A woman who secretly likes you won't just wait for you to reach out. She'll find small, low-pressure ways to stay on your radar. Maybe she replies quickly to your texts, even if she's busy. Maybe she reacts to your Instagram stories or sends you memes that match your sense of humor. These might seem like small gestures, but they're strategic. They're her way of creating consistent presence in your life without demanding anything from you. She might not be texting paragraphs or confessing her feelings, but she's initiating, she's checking in, she's keeping the conversation alive. Even the way she responds using more emojis, adding playful or flirty undertones, using your name more often. Those are all cues. She's trying to keep the emotional energy flowing, to make sure the connection doesn't fizzle out. And if she's making excuses to text you about random things, asking for your opinion on something trivial or sharing a funny story from her day, that's emotional outreach. That's her way of saying, "I'm thinking about you," without directly saying it. Sometimes she might even accidentally, like an old post or story, or she'll tag you in something funny, or she'll comment on something you shared to keep herself visible. These aren't coincidences. They're her trying to create familiarity and intimacy through casual, frequent touchpoints. She doesn't want to appear too eager, but she also doesn't want to disappear from your world. So she finds this balance, staying close enough that you always remember her, but distant enough to keep the mystery alive. It's a game of emotional chess, and every move is calculated with quiet intention. A woman who secretly likes you will often find subtle ways to be physically close to you. She'll seek proximity, but not in a way that's obvious or overt. Instead, it shows up in small, almost invisible gestures, like choosing the seat next to you when there are others available, leaning in a little closer when you speak, or brushing her hand against yours accidentally when passing something to you. These touches may seem casual, but they are calculated. They're her way of bridging the physical gap between you, of creating a sense of closeness without ever crossing boundaries that would make her feelings too obvious. It's a careful dance between wanting to be near you and not wanting to reveal too much. You might notice she never shies away when your arms or legs touch. In fact, sometimes she may not move at all, allowing the contact to linger just a moment longer than normal. It's not an accident, it's an invitation. In social settings, she'll gravitate toward you. Whether standing in a group or sitting in a crowded space, her body language naturally orients toward you. Her knees might point in your direction, her feet angled slightly your way. These subconscious body cues are signals of interest. When someone likes you, they quite literally want to be in your orbit. And even when she's across the room, she may glance your way more than once, her eyes searching for yours in a crowd, her attention anchored to your presence. You might also see it in the way she mirrors your body language. If you lean forward, she might do the same. If you cross your arms or rest your chin on your hand, she could subtly mimic the movement. This isn't her copying you. This is her subconsciously aligning with your rhythm, syncing with your energy. It's a primitive form of bonding, a way of saying, "I feel comfortable with you, I'm attuned to you." And it goes deeper than just comfort. It's attraction manifesting through alignment. She wants to be in step with you, both emotionally and physically. She may also play with her hair or adjust her clothes when you're nearby. These movements aren't just habits. They're often a form of preening. It's something humans do when they're trying to look more attractive to someone they're drawn to. If she's suddenly straightening her posture, fixing her hair, or adjusting her necklace while in your presence, she's trying, consciously or not, to make sure she looks her best for you. Combine that with her constant subtle shifts to be near you, and what you have is a woman whose attraction is leaking through every motion, even if her words say nothing. Touch becomes her language. Sometimes, when she laughs at your jokes, she might lightly touch your arm or nudge you playfully. Other times, when you're walking side by side, she might accidentally brush her hand against yours. If you tease her, she might lightly push you or playfully swat your shoulder. These touches are not random. They're socially acceptable excuses to feel connected. It's her way of saying, "I want to be close to you," without saying a word, and more importantly, she watches your reaction. If you pull away, she might retreat. But if you lean in or smile, it gives her permission to inch closer the next time. These kinds of physical cues, small, frequent, and subtle, are the true language of hidden desire, because when words fail or feel too risky, the body speaks. And if you're not paying attention, you'll miss the way she reaches for you without ever stretching out her hand. She's not just standing next to you. She's making a silent declaration. "I feel drawn to you. I feel safe around you, and I want to be closer." The space she chooses to share with you is no accident. It's a doorway left open just enough for you to notice, if you're looking. So, if you've noticed these signs, the extra attention, the emotional sensitivity, the subtle shifts in her body language, the thoughtful effort she puts into being around you, it's time to stop doubting yourself. Women often won't express their feelings directly, especially when vulnerability is involved. Instead, they communicate through gestures, glances, and presence. When a woman secretly likes you, she leaves behind a trail of quiet clues, hoping you'll be perceptive enough to follow them. Don't ignore the signals. Pay attention, trust your instincts, and when the moment feels right, take the lead, because she might just be waiting for you to make the first move.